Welcome to our tier list for the best and worst albums of 2024. We're going to go through over 30 different albums today and rank them on our scale going from bad to perfect. And if you guys are new here, make sure to smash that subscribe button because we're going to be doing way more end of the year content on the best albums of the year, best songs of the year, and much more. So stay tuned for all that. But let's get into this, bro. It's been a very eventful year, to say the least.
Oh my goodness, to say the least.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I'm looking at this list and, like, it was busy.
It was super busy, but it doesn't feel like it. Just
Doesn't
because
feel- I think, yeah, but that's just like...
there was a slow period until, like, the fourth quarter that just, like, boomed.
Yeah, but even at that, like, I'm looking at some of the future material on here. Already got 3 of his projects. Eminem dropped this year, 21 Savage, J. Cole, Denzel Curry.
Denzel Curry.
Denzel Curry, Don Toliver, Schoolboy Q, Vince Staples, JPEG Mafia. Yeah, it was stacked. It was absolutely stacked.
Yeah.
But all right, let's start off with the obvious one, Gen X. We'll get it out of the way. By the way, guys, thank you for a wonderful 2024. As Lou said, you guys are going to see a bunch of content on the channel. You guys know the tradition. If you guys have been subbed to us for a minute, you guys know how we do it here. But Gen X. So we originally gave it, I believe, an amazing rating. I think we're going to stick with that. I mean, we only recorded that review maybe a week ago, so I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah, listen, it's Kendrick's worst album to date, and yet it's still amazing. Like, he still took a new approach, and I feel like he had every right to indulge and go on this parade of just high volatile energy. Even the songs that I don't fuck with that much, let's say like a GNX or a Blue Dodger, they still feel cohesive to the album. They still feel like they belong. And apart from that, I mean, I will say that it does feel like Kendrick is like LeBron with the 2007 Cavs. Like, he's just like carrying the features on his back, besides SZA and a couple others. But for the most part, that was another minor complaint with the album. But ultimately, it is amazing, and it's a testament to the legendary year that he's had, bro.
Yeah, he's had a legendary year, and I think a lot of people that are clowning the album maybe don't understand the approach to it, maybe don't understand like what's really going on, or maybe it's just not your cup of tea. That's another thing too. But that's always been the situation when Kendrick drops an album, right? People have these massive high expectations because people hold Kendrick Lamar to such a high standard. Obviously, you know, he's one of the best artists of this new generation, and then they get the project, and well, if it doesn't necessarily sound to what they want it to sound like, then they're going to start clowning it. But regardless, though, I think it's an amazing track list. Songs on there like TV Off, for example, have been a mainstay in my rotation.
Whacked Out Murals. Crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of great tracks on there, and some of the highest voltage rapping performances that you're going to find all year. Great West Coast production on it. Great song concepts like the Hard Part 6. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, you go into this album, and if you guys are calling Blue Lips an amazing album, you guys are saying We Don't Trust You's an album of the year contender. When you really look at the performances and the writing on this project, it's hard to argue against, right?
Crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious. Let's keep on going. Next up, we got Vultures 1 by Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign. I will say this, listening to Vultures 2 made me appreciate this album just a little bit more. When it comes down to it, I feel like the chemistry was decent between Ty Dolla $ign and Kanye West, even though Ty Dolla $ign was a standout performer, giving you amazing singing performances on songs like Beg Forgiveness. That being said, this album's like best attribute is obviously the production. You're getting a lot of bass distortion. You're getting a lot of like urgent beats that remind you of Yeezus to a certain degree.
But there's also some memorable tracks going back to V1, whereas if with V2 it was completely disjointed. So going back to V1, songs like Problematic or Burn, I feel like those were completed tracks, and those feel good for a Kanye catalog. Like, obviously there's material on this project where I feel like, okay, this maybe doesn't make sense for his discography, but nonetheless, there's a lot of material in here that I still kind of enjoy. You know, I don't think I would give it maybe the great rating that I did at once, but I think it's a good, solid project. That's where I'm at.
It is a good album at best. I will say this, Kanye did spit some of the worst rhymes of his career, though, on this thing, without a doubt. But, yeah. Let's move on to Vultures 2 by Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign. Once again, I think that this album would have been better if it just never came out. This album it feels like less than zero, bro.
Well, you know what? And there was some conversation and chatter within different Kanye platforms on X. And I remember we even got a super chat about this where people were like, but, you know, would the discography be higher in our own tier list? Let's say if he would have released On the 2. I think when it comes to sequels, like, it's just...
Not a good idea.
It's not a good idea. We saw it with Donda 2. It was barely completed. It was attached to a stem player that felt like a cash grab. Now you go into this new era of Vultures. Vultures 1 is acceptable. You have songs on there that made massive impact this year. Like, let's say even a Carnival, even if you and I don't fuck with it, whatever. There was still good Sonics in there. And then you get this thing, and it's like, what value do you want out of it? When you're getting songs like Husband on here, fuck it. But you know what? Shout out, Miles for the fucking Bond remix. That's crazy. Shout out to the fucking GOAT.
Miles is the GOAT. Deserve that feature. But yeah, ultimately, I think what's really sad about this project is that you go to songs like 530, you go to songs like River, you go to songs like the original non-AI version of Sky City, and like, there was so much potential in those records.
Even something like a Field Trip, if it would have been like worked on for a couple of years, or maybe you would have gotten a better Kodak verse, maybe you would have been able to get a better mix on Don Toliver's vocals. Like you said, standout tracks. But what it felt like was like, let's just give fans a bunch of fan favorites that are uncompleted, and they'll just take it. They'll accept it, right? Because I'm Kanye. So.
If the artist is not going to put an ounce of care into making the album, I'm not going to put any effort into listening to it, bro. It's a bad album.
It is a bad album.
It's a bad album, guys.
Absolutely.
Next up, let's move on to Tyler, the Creator's Chromakopia. Really special album. Definitely gets bonus points for the rollout because it was quick, it was enthralling, and Tyler did it again, bro. He built a new world once again. And what I love the most about this album is that I feel like he evolved as a writer, going to songs like Take Your Mask Off, going to songs like Him, and even just the concept of the album of like keeping that light inside of you alive, and really following your passion and sticking through it. That was a really cool message to get out of an album this year.
Not only that, but just the idea of having so much scrutiny as an artist, and so many people looking at you, so many people criticizing you, so many people projecting their views on you, while being able to maintain that artistic integrity. And when I listen to a track like Noid, that's the type of sentiment that I get out of it. Not only that, some of the best produced songs of the year, even with something like a Saint Chroma. I absolutely adore that production. I think it's genuinely a top 3 project of 2024. I could say that confidently, and that's not going to spoil my list because you guys should already be on game with that. Like the FK, when you go through this album from every single standpoint, when you look at maybe there's some features on the album that are not as strong as others, but when you look at the production, when you look at the artist performance, the concept of the album, the consistency of the track list, like there's so many things going for it. And albums like this are needed in music in 2024.
Yeah, it just feels like such a complete album. And I love the fact that like he blended the sonic palettes of his previous albums and brought them to fruition here in an expanded way. Like we were talking about Saint Chroma, bro. Like just the suspenseful buildup of that colorful beat, bro. It was just incredible to witness. And even getting his mother as a narrator, it just felt like such a complete album that had a vision that was followed through from start to finish. Definitely amazing, bro. Definitely.
All right, so let's go on to We Don't Trust You, the first installment of the We Don't Trust You series, because we're going to get on to We Still Don't Trust You, the album that's going to be after this one. And what's interesting about this is you think that this will be considered a future classic. And while I don't think so, I think that it birthed one of the biggest moments of 2024. This year was not on my bingo card for this year, if I could really say that. Every single event that transpired in 2024, I couldn't have called it. 2023 was a bit more of a chalk type of year. You probably figured Travis was going to come out with Utopia. He did it. It was like, okay, let's wash our hands. Let's keep going on with this. What this album did just completely changed the course of just hip-hop music as a whole, relationships, and everything. It's such an important album. Not only that, but you could say, okay, is it the one record with like that really carries the track list? Absolutely not. Going back to tracks like Young Metro, We Don't Trust You. There's so Slime In. This is vintage Future performances, getting him in his 2015
Slimed out, by the way.
Slimed out, my bad. Getting him in his 2015 bag, and I love even GTA. There's so much quality across this track list. So to be able to get a Metro Boomin and a Future collaboration,
it is slimed in. My bad. I'm tripping. Anyways,
that's you kind of fucked with me.
I fucked with you. Yeah.
I was by the way, I was thinking about it before I said it. Is it slimed in or slimed out? Yeah. Anyways, doesn't matter. Just to be able to even get features on this, like a Kendrick, like a Rick Ross, looking at what Playboi Carti and Travis did on this album too. It was really like, it was a special moment for trap music, for sure.
Yeah, and I just love that it wasn't your run-of-the-mill trap album, like through Metro's direction, you ended up getting the motif of Prodigy coming in at the beginning and end of certain tracks, speaking to some of the themes on the album about how no one else is doing it on their level, and how there's a bunch of like, fuck shit going on in the industry, and that all other rappers are not up to par. So that was really cool. Even getting cinematic production that have lush instrumentation, that's rare to get on a trap album these days. So it definitely was a level up from what we've been getting from that scene as of late. And listen, bro, when you have an album with multiple anthems that have the streets and the clubs on lock, like that, like a Young Metro, I mean, you cooked once that happens. Like, we
even
saw a
something
shift.
like even something like a Nice Attack. I know you're not that big of a fan of that song, but for me, that was a song that was in my mainstay for a good portion of the year. So,
but what's interesting though is that originally you had it actually had an amazing rating. I had it as a great rating. So do you still stand on that amazing?
oh, I think so. It's an amazing trap album, bro. Like, when you go through it, production amazing, Future's performance is amazing, content is pretty good on it. You could argue that the features are great, and bro, the replay value in it has been amazing.
Tons of replay value,
Tons of
bro.
replay. But come on, so
yeah. I'm gonna go up to amazing, especially with me feeling like, because of the impact, it's gonna go down as a classic. I'm totally chill giving it that. But next up, We Still Don't Trust You by Future and Metro. They spun the block just a few weeks after dropping their first album, and Future kind of took a 2017 approach where he gives you more of a rap focused project, then comes out with the more R&B leaning project. And what was cool about this was that it was a double album. You ended up getting Future mixtape vibes on the second half, where he's rapping his ass off over like these decade-old sounding trap beats.
like Pluto type of like production, right?
Exactly.
Like you would find on his earlier
Like on a
mixtape.
Crazy Clientele, which rang off. The album was hot and cold for me, though. There's hits and misses scattered through the whole
Especially
project.
on the first half, though. The last half is pretty consistent, and you understand what you're going to get out of it. But I feel like there's also underwhelming collaborations on there. So, for example, take Red Leather for example. I look at something like that J. Cole performance and like, I don't know, the Ruby Rose bars and shit like that. Like,
felt awkward.
It just. And even at that, like you're getting Cole, right? And like you could get him in like something where he's getting more vicious and he's getting more technical with it, and it just felt like a waste of a Cole feature. At least for me, everyone has their own opinions on it, but that's at least the way that I feel about it. But nonetheless, I gave it a good rating. I think it's a good, solid
this
project.
Is a mid album, bro. I'm sorry.
I give it a good rating.
Ultimately, when you go through it, you're getting a lot of poor auto crooning from Future. You're getting these very one-dimensional melodies and hooks. Messy song structure, surface level writing, even for Future, I can say that. And again, when you look at that hit and miss ratio, bro, it's really not a positive score. We got to go mid here, bro. This is a mediocre album.
I think it's good, bro. There's definitely tracks. We'll go through the track list.
No, you're not gonna convince me, bro. You just give me this one, and I'll keep it in mind. I won't forget it. All right. Let's go. Let's give it the mid, please.
I really don't think it's a mid album.
Oh,
okay,
it's definitely mid.
If you think it's mid, then we'll go mid with it. All right, keep that in mind then.
All right.
Mixtape Pluto. Fuck. 3 back-to-back Future albums that we just went through. Maybe the first time you'll ever see this on the tier list. Maybe the last time you'll ever see this on the tier list. Would be cool to see this maybe run again in like 2027, depending on what he's doing with his career. But he said, okay, I give you the work with Metro, but now it's time to get with Southside. And it's time to get like these crazy, I guess 56 Nights-esque beats, which wasn't the case. You like that. That's the way that the project was marketed. But
still got crazy beats, bro.
You got
Teflon Don, the Godfather theme song being put into a brash trap song.
Let's call it a buck, though. Let's just say it how it is. To be quite honest with you, like this mixtape, I think it's aged well for my rotation, but the good rating was fair. It's nothing. It's nothing more than a good project. You are getting high voltage, high energy performances from Future, but there's a lot of shit on this that also feels a bit uncompleted. Like it feels a bit undermixed too. I don't know. It's just. Yeah. It could have been a lot better maybe if he would have waited. He could have dropped this next year. Imagine dropping this next year.
That would have been
like
fire.
taking some time with it. You didn't have to go 3
again,
for 3.
The approach was to try to get the three-peat, which for some people I guess he did. But the production was hard. I do like that it was a darker soundscape and that you got like operatic sampled vocals on a song like Oath, or even the way the drums come in and out on Ski. Like there's a lot of highlights production-wise and performance-wise. You get those classic Future mixtape vibes, but it's good. Nothing more. Next up, The Death of Slim Shady by Eminem.
This is an interesting album to review.
Yeah, bro. I mean, he decided to come back and give fans what they wanted, like one last crazy ride with Slim Shady.
One last hoorah. Rip it. And you are getting some of the best tracks of the year, and something like A Fuel, for example. Mm-hmm. And people were questioning, like, how the fuck are you going to put this guy in a top 25 rappers right now? And it was like, you know what? he dropped a good album this year. And from a technicality standpoint, I'm sorry, he's smoking, guys. When I look at a Fuel, like that wasn't a competition between him and JID, and JID came with an impressive verse.
Yeah.
That was an impressive feature. And regardless, he still decided to do it. There's some lackluster in it, but there's some Heart 12 songs. There's also some songs that make you feel like you're going back to like the Eminem show era with something like an Antichrist, for example.
Or a Renaissance.
For sure.
Which is an incredible song. The way he managed to capture like the voice that he was rhyming with like 20 years ago, that was a beautiful surprise. And I will say this, I mean, a big part of it too was him attacking, I guess, woke culture and a lot of that stuff. And ultimately, I mean, when it came to the shock value of the lyrics with this album, it did feel different in the sense that, like, bro, Eminem is like, he's about to be a grandfather, you know? Like, he's in his 50s, he's living a sheltered life. Like, it didn't hit the same that it maybe would have, I feel like, all those years later.
Yeah, but you got to give him salute for that, because that's always kind of been his MO. Like, it would have felt weird if you didn't have
do
that.
it.
Imagine an Eminem album without that. It's been in every one of his
sure.
albums, and I feel like going back to Music to Be Murdered By It and Revival, these were things that I was asking for, and these were things that I were given. Like, and he executed, pretty well upon them. So
it's a really good album. I'm not gonna lie. Like Eminem really fucking, he did his thing. I think it deserves that good rating.
It does deserve the good rating.
Maybe even close to great.
It depends.
Close, not far off. I will say that. But just white gold, bro. Why'd you need white gold for those hooks and shit? You know, like
yeah, but that was like trying to put on an Aftermath artist.
And I will say also the concept wasn't as well executed as it could have been, but.
Yeah, the concept kind of goes downhill, like towards Guilty Conscious Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever. Anyways, American Dream by 21 Savage, the first commercial release of 2024. Crazy. I remember reviewing this album at the beginning of the year, and I was really impressed with it. And I felt like, hey, if we're getting a commercial release this early on, we could probably see a year full of it. And that's exactly what we got. And going back to American Dream, I think there's some songs that are aging super well for his catalog, whether it's an All of Me, a Red Rum, a Nina. There's some really solid material across this album. I originally gave it a great rating, but I could go down to good for you if you want to give it good.
No, I mean, I had it at great as well.
You did? I
did,
felt like we did two different reviews for that.
From what I remember, I gave it a great rating too. I mean, I had gripes with it, like he took that classic trap album approach where he's, kind of stuffed all the melodic tracks at the end, and obviously we know that's not his strong suit, but you're getting songs like Sneaky where he just hits that violent mood and fast tempo and is just spitting off these quotables and he gets in his bag. And yeah, just more of an introspective side of 21 as well, more personal. I think it's solid, bro. I think it's really solid. I would give it that grade still.
Yeah, I think it was a great trap album.
All right, moving on to Might Delete Later by J. Cole. Listen, bro.
So what do we do with this project? We gave it a good rating, right?
We gave it a good rating. I want to say this. There's songs on here like Crocodile Tears, like 3001, like Pie, where I listen to them and I'm listening to the way that Cole is shredding that mic into pieces, and I'm like, this is the best rapper rapping right now. Like, just based on those performances, even on that one, which
even
was
something like Sticks and Stones is really well executed upon too.
It's like the highs are so fucking high on that album,
and then you end up getting the lows.
You get the fevers, you get the hide your bitches of the album, and you're like, well, this is uneven. And more than anything, it just feels like a very casual, loose mixtape where it's more of a collection of songs than like a well thought out album entry in Cole's catalog, So
do you think the decision of 7 Minute Drill maybe like tainted our opinion on the album a bit?
Not for
when
me.
We did the review.
It did for a lot of people. Like people just discarded and said this is fucking trash because.
But I feel like people are coming around to this project now towards the end of the year. I mean, we asked a lot of people like, what would your end of the year list look like? For Patreon, and they said that this project would probably be there.
Mm-hmm. Hey, listen, it got a Grammy nom. I don't think it's Grammy worthy. I'll say that, but
no, it's not a top 5
solid.
album of the year.
Yeah.
If we gave American Dream a great rating, I could give this a great rating.
You want to bump this up to great?
I mean, listen, bro. Like, like American Dream has as many faults as it does, like as Might Delete Later. What do you have? Like realistically, 3 skips on this? It's not that bad, bro. The highs are super high.
The highs are high. Yeah,
some of the best songs.
Let's give it a great. Let's give it a great rating.
It deserves it. It definitely deserves it.
All right, moving on to Kings of the Mischievous South, Volume 2 by Denzel Curry. Kind of gave us a modern version of a Dirty South album. Like super inspired by. With Zoo, we saw he was inspired by the old Florida sound. Here, he's more inspired by the Memphis sound, 3-6 Mafia, A-Ball and MJG, like that kind of side of hip hop. And what a chameleon this guy is, bro. Like,
do anything he
you
wants.
give him any fucking sonic palette, bro, and he'll just fucking run it. His mic presence on this album is as loud as it could be. You're getting hyper energetic flows from
Not
him.
only that, some of the best executed tracks of the year, like a Black Flag freestyle, even an ultra shit to start off the album. There's definitely a lot of quality throughout this. It's consistent. It's short. The lyricism did take a backseat on this because he usually does that for these types of projects where like it's not the craziest when it comes down to like the pen game and when it comes down to song concepts. Like you don't expect Melt Session #1s on here like Walk-ins, for example. No. I would expect more of like that high voltage sort of like in your face type of Denzel, and that's what you're gonna get out of this. We gave it a great rating. I would continue with that.
Bro, it's just an album filled with fucking ox bangers all throughout it. So Denzel Curly, as you said it, gets the great rating,
That's
bro.
the first time I've said that.
Crazy. But yeah, also I wanted to say also the expanded edition,
Great
bro,
edition.
supersonic flows and Still in the Pain, it still blow my mind to this day. But yeah, let's keep on moving. Next up, Heartstone Psycho by Don Toliver. He really went out on a limb, bro, to try to reinvent himself with this album. You know,
And he did it.
Yeah, he executed with that rock inspired sound.
And you see, like, he offers something to the table right now. I wouldn't even say like in melodic trap music that no one else could really offer. And I think that's why he's doing so well, even with like his arena stadium like tour and whatever else he's doing.
Well, not stadium, but arena.
Sorry,
yeah.
arena tour and whatever else he's doing commercially. Like, people are genuinely invested into this new sound from Don Toliver, and I think that's really important for his career and how he's going to continue to build it out. So,
yeah, no, I would give it a great rating, bro. I mean, obviously there's
Still
highs and lows, but again, bro, for a rapper to execute on like a rock inspired rap album, you know how fucking tough that is. Like the odds weren't in his favor, and he pulled it off. So shout out to Don T. He gets the great. A lot of greats in this tier list so far.
There's a lot of great albums this year.
Not too many amazings, but I feel like we're about to maybe head into some of those.
We're going into that territory for sure.
Blue Lips by Schoolboy Q, his grand return after not dropping since 2019's Crash
Had my
Talk.
album of the year position for most of the year.
Listen, I don't want to talk about where it's going to place. I don't want to reveal if it's still going to be my number one yet. You can if you want to.
No, I won't. But we could all agree it's a top 10 of the year.
Yeah, it's locked into that list.
It's
sure.
definitely locked into that list. The execution on songs like Blue Slides, Thank God for Me. Come on, Lost Times. What are we doing here?
Yeah, it just felt like
Cooties.
navigating and taking an adventure through cues like Twisted Psyche. Like, that's kind of what this album felt like. And crazy production, unpredictable production.
It takes a long time to make an album like this. This is why it probably took him so long to release. There's a lot that goes into an album with so many twists and turns and so many different productions behind it. Oh, it's an amazing rating still.
It's still an amazing album, bro. Just one of the most well-rounded performances from any rapper this year. I want to say that as well. But
all right, next up, Dark Times.
Yeah, here we go. What a fucking dope run Vince has been on, bro, in the 2020s.
Crazy. Stupid.
And he keeps going, and I feel like he keeps evolving as an artist and dipping more into like his singer-songwriter vibe on certain songs here as well. And so many highlights, bro, from It to Fit to Little Homies to a storytelling gem like Justin.
Black and Blue, yeah. There's Government Cheese. Tracklist is super consistent, short as usual. Follows a similar format that maybe the Vince self-titled project took. And I really think it is still one of the strongest albums this year. Again, this is going to be another lock for me in my top 10.
Another one for the amazing. There you go. Speaking of amazings, well, this one's going to be interesting because we disagreed. I Laid Down My Life for You by JPEG Mafia. You gave it a great rating in the review. I gave it the amazing. I still stand by that. This is an album that, sorry to fucking spoil it, but it's going to be in my top 10 as well. And just one of the most berserk soundscapes of the year in the best of ways, where he's bringing
I will say this, it's aged well for me.
Oh yeah.
I will say this, you can't deny it. You can't deny what he did on this album. I think there's a lot of stuff that I got to go back to and really take in, but going back to it, I was showing some guys and stuff, and they were like, ooh, like the taste making on this album is top.
Yeah, like how do you go from making like a lo-fi jazz cut to something where you're rapping over like Brazilian funk, like literally from one song to the next?
And that's it. Like, but I always expected the unpredictability factor with JPEG, so that wasn't a surprise to me. When you look at the production, whenever JPEG Mafia decides to take on a project, you know you're going to get amazing production across the board. I was just more so looking at like more of the content matter, more of the replay value. Like those are scores that we do take into account for our reviews, so I do have to look at them. And those are the scores that kind of made me bump it down to a great rating instead of an amazing one. I don't mind going into the amazing rating for this one. I think that it is a project that is on par with something like a Dark Times, for example.
Yeah.
Production wise, it may be one of the best of the year.
Oh, it is. It is without a doubt. And I just love how wacky the delivery and the performances, the hysterical one-liners as well. Like, he really pulled off something special, and I think it's his best album. I really do. But next up, we have One of One by Gunna. Bro, this is just another Gunna album to me. Like, that's as simply as I could put it. It starts off so strong where Gunna's catching these pockets where he's riding these evergreen and turbo beats perfectly, bro. Like, no other rapper could just glide on these productions like Gunna can. But then,
there's a serious but there's a serious 9-track run on this.
Yeah.
One. But even songs like I Did Good Today, like towards the end of the track list have grown on me. I like those types of songs and that type of introspection from Gunna. That's a different song concept. But like you said, songs like One on One and songs like Hakuna Matata, as much as I love these songs and I think they're fucking solid and they're big bangers, like you said, you could go get that on a 1A. You could go get that on a DS3, for example. You could even get that on a DS Forever. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. He served you exactly what he does. And I think he's great at doing it. And I don't think, honestly, the formula should change at this point.
No, but there's so many snoozers on that album. I think it should change,
There is, but but not for the fan base. He knows what he's going to do. He knows, like, his formula is too potent right now. Honestly, he's going to probably run this sound into the ground.
Yeah.
He probably... And it hasn't changed.
Will.
Bro, he had some big fucking songs on this album. Like, the public doesn't seem to get tired of it. So at the same time, I'm like, okay.
But that's kind of what it's been with the latest couple Gunna albums, where it's like you have like 2 or 3 hits and like... I guess the numbers are underwhelming on the rest of the album. And that's kind of how I've been treating my Gunna albums, is that I'm plucking them out and I'm treating them like it's a playlist where I'm just choosing what I want. So, whatever. It's a good album at best, bro.
It's a good album.
I could even go down to mid if you want to.
It's a good album. It's solid. All right, next one. We didn't do a review for this, but I think it's a great time to speak about it. Alligator Bites Never Heal by Doechii. This was a big project for her, considered a mixtape, so let's see what she's going to do for her debut studio album. And this project really shot her into a different type of category. When you and I did our top 25 rappers in the world right now, we both had her around a similar range. She in both of our lists, she cracked those lists. And when it comes down to this project, songs like Boiled Peanuts, you're listening to the writing and you're going through and you're like, wow, this is fucking top tier shit, bro. This is like some like Missy Elliott type stuff. Like, this is really, really missing from the landscape of hip hop. And she wears so many different influences on her sleeve, whether it's Missy Elliott, even to like, let's say some Nicki Minaj type like grunts and moans and like cadences, even like let's say some Lauryn Hill melodic performances, like,
or even on like Stankapool, like the Odd Future inspiration with the zany rhymes. Like,
there's so much going for this project. I would have given it an amazing rating, bro. If I had,
I would have given it an amazing rating too. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just the versatility, bro, is at a peak level. Denial is a river, giving you a great storytelling cut. Looking at a song like Slide, which is an R&B bop. Looking at like Nissan Altima, which has these braggadocious flows and like this West Coast bounce. You're like, she can literally do it all. She can bar up. She can sing. Like, what more do you want out of a rapper? What a fucking pleasure, bro, it is to listen to music like this. Definitely amazing. And to keep someone like me that like really, I would say like I can easily get my attention span thrown off if an album starts to sound samey. Bro, this is 19 songs, barely any features. I think there's one feature on here, and she kept me thoroughly entertained from start to finish. That's rare.
There you go.
That's fucking rare. Yep, she's here to stay like the shit in your panties. Those are her words, not mine.
All right,
she said it best. Next up, Samurai by Lupe Fiasco. Listen, bro, this was tough for me not to give it an amazing rating just because of the elements within this album that I love, but I'm going to stand by that great rating. And I think that it's just because even though you're getting, soundtrack, giving you these incredible compositions and, jazzy boom bap beats, it does get a bit redundant at a certain point, I feel like, with this track list. That being said, I know that you felt a way about the concept itself. I actually think that the concept is genius just because I can't think of any other rapper that would think of something as creative as the Amy Winehouse-inspired concept on this album, especially knowing that it was based on reality to some degree. Incredible lyricism, like you expect from every Lupe album. Can paint pictures with words like no one else can. I just feel like, performance-wise, it was missing a bit of oomph, and I feel like, again, production-wise, it could have been stepped up.
And the
a little
replay
bit.
value hasn't been strong on this album.
Not for me either, but it's still a great album.
But self-titled tracks like Samurai, though, I'm still going back to songs like that.
Oh, for sure.
And they gave me like that old Tetsu and Youth sort of vibe. But to be honest with you, like I said, I don't know. It's just I understood the concept. I went through it. I reviewed it thoroughly with you. Trust me, nothing went over my fucking head. I went through Genius. You guys could talk to me all you want about going through it with another fucking microscope. I get it. I understand. But like I told you, I was disengaged without the narrative of the album, like going throughout it. That's just me. Like that's like a personal thing. So that's why. But I think a great rating is a fair rating
for sure.
One.
Next
Still
up,
a great album.
Insano by Kid Cudi.
What a letdown.
This album feels like a fever dream, bro. I actually forgot this album existed until I went through the list of 2024 albums, and I'm like, oh, that happened. It's true. Fuck.
That's a tough one. Songs like Willis, bro. Holy shit.
Yeah, even the deluxe was horrible, but yeah, bro. I mean, it just felt like Cudi wanted to ride trends of the modern wave, bringing you like these trap and rage sounds, and it's like, brother, like we love the relatable Cudi, the one that's like on some super like deep shit and who's humming and singing and taking you to like these other galaxies with his melodies. And on this album,
that took all
he dropped the fucking ball, bro.
Well, it's everything that he does well. He decided not to do on this album.
Yeah, you get it on like one song, like Blue Sky.
I guess maybe he didn't want to over abuse it, but at the same time, you go to a world-renowned steakhouse, let's say, to eat a good steak, or let's say you go to a certain type of art gallery that specializes in a certain type of art. And you go to these places and you get a completely different product that's not necessarily up to the quality that you want it to be because you're not in the right setting for those types of places. I'm not trying to fucking listen to Yeet while I go into a Kid Cudi album. And I felt like that's why maybe a lot of people didn't like this. Like even going into something like a Willis, like, bro, I don't know, like if he even wants to make music at that point, Like what are we listening to? And it also feels like, especially with some of the public rants, whatever it is, like, people are not listening to my album, and like people asked if they were going to get a vinyl, or some of the people that got scrutiny for asking where his creative decisions are going, like, it feels like he wants to like fight people over like telling him like,
chill.
There's good music and there's bad music.
But that's what's funny is that like Cudi is the blueprint for so many artists of this newer generation. Like you don't need to be taking these rap caviar features and getting these distorted like Benny X productions and getting DJ Drama narrate your album. Like, you don't have to ride every trend in hip hop, bro. You literally wrote every fucking trend you could. Like,
said,
bro,
fucking we ball.
Bro, it's nuts. No, this album was the mids, bro. This was definitely the mids.
I could go back. I could go.
You wanna go bad? I don't mind.
Bro, this is a bad album.
We can do it.
This is a bad album, bro.
You want to do it?
Yeah, fuck
it.
Bro, it was a bad album. I'm sorry, dude. But
yeah.
What song do you remember from that track list?
None. It is a soulless album, bro. This guy chose style over substance, but all the style sucked. Like there was no silver lining.
There was no silver lining to it.
The writing is so bad. I don't even want to talk about the writing, bro. I don't even want to go there. All right, let's keep on moving. Almighty Soul 2 by Chief Keef. This album suffered delay after fucking delay, but when it came out, this man delivered.
He did deliver.
He fucking delivered.
He's too high of a tastemaker, bro. Chief Keef is... Do you realize how good of a tastemaker Chief Keef is?
Yeah.
You think Chief Keef's going to fuck around with a project? He'll never do it, bro. Even with Fornem, like, he doesn't fuck around. When he drops a project, he makes sure it sticks. Because he know that I just love the creative bag that he's in, bro. Even going through that Zane Lowe interview and listening to him talk about his art, oh my goodness! Like he has such a great vision, bro, for what he wants to accomplish, and I love that. As a Chief Keef fan, I fucking love that. And the energy that you're getting from him on this project is stupid. The production is stupid, and most of it is produced by himself. Shout out to Chief Keef, bro.
Yeah, no.
What a fantastic listen this was.
He went crazy, bro. Just some of the most epic sounding trap beats with the horns that he brought in with these crazy fast tempo piano loops that remind you of some old Zaytoven shit. Even him rapping like the Rent was doing something like 1, 2, 3. It was just so thrilling. The feature selections were pretty solid. You got Michael Blackson making us laugh our asses off on some of the skits on here. I don't know if it's more than one, but I'm thinking about the Jesus skit, which was hysterical. But yeah, bro, Chief Keef dropped an album that some people are even calling better than the OG mixtape, Almighty So.
But
you know,
it has
like,
that studio album.
It's so
great, too.
different from that
It
mixtape
is.
too, which is...
It is, but it sounds like a leveled up, like, mature Chief Keef. I don't know, like, it's like he's in a Super Saiyan mode.
Top 3 trap album of the year, easy.
Oh, it's right up there with HARDSTONE Psycho.
Great album.
Great album.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going on with this next one. Ultra 85. This one was for the fans. And he knew it.
It was.
You know what? Fuck it. He gave us Ultra 85. If he wants to go into a Playboy Cardi bag next year, I'm going to review it. Maybe I won't. But I'll just do. You could do it. Logic, have fun, bro. Because he gave you this.
That's the weirdest fucking, like, new approach I've seen an artist want to take.
But that's the Logic bag, bro. You're going to get in, and it's going to be mixed.
Yeah.
You're going to get, like, a Bobby Tarantino 3, and then you're going to get a No Pressure.
I said it. The most inconsistent discography, maybe, of all time, just because you're getting some of the best albums of the year when he drops quality, and then some of the worst albums of the year when he drops his duds. That's just what it is. And Logic didn't fuck around with this album. I mean, when you look at it, it is a prequel to The Incredible True Story. I did feel like the concept was a total waste. I mean, the whole point of like getting Ultra 85, we all believed that it was going to be Thomas and Kai reaching paradise and completing that story. And instead, you didn't really learn anything new about the characters. Didn't feel like the narrative had too much of a purpose. But that being said, I go into a 9-minute song like Paul Rodriguez and hear him rap his fucking ass off, and I'm a happy fan. Well, that's what it is.
Well, even with the original The Incredible True Story, like, the concept wasn't as woven in as Logic fans might think.
No, it was strong. It was strong.
It wasn't crazy, but I'm talking about the writing of the album. The writing of the album wasn't woven into this crazy galactic energy, bro. That like it was more in the cinematic skits, and it was more throughout the production.
Yes, but those skits added so much, and there was a real storyline with the skits. I'm not saying there isn't here, but what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't add anything to those character arcs.
Well, yes, it does.
No,
like
it
gives them it gives you characters.
It gives you more backstory, but it doesn't give you like development, bro. The story doesn't develop.
Well, what do you mean? How does it give you development? It give you backstory. It gives you some sort of development throughout it.
It was underwhelming.
Okay, listen, man. I don't give a fuck. I've never gone into these Logic albums and be like, oh well, the skits don't give me enough character development. I don't give a fuck.
It plays a big role in the fucking album. I am gonna give a fuck. Sure, it does. It's the whole theme of the album, bro. The whole theme of Ultra 85.
Going back to The Incredible True Story, when you listen to songs like Young Jesus or Fade Away, it has almost zero correlation.
Bro, it's part of the album experience, bro. I'm not listening to songs on a playlist maybe and just bumping songs.
But what I'm saying is that the meat of the album is not necessarily affected by the concept that you're getting cinematically throughout the track list, and that's what I'm trying to say.
Right, what are you giving this album, bro?
What do we give it originally?
I'm giving it a great. I'm not sure what the review was. I think it was around that.
I think it was
there were some lackluster performances, like I think 44 More and a couple others, but getting Logic rapping over some of his old beats and some classic samples like Gucci Mane's Lemonade, and 6 really cooked on that end. So special album for 2024, gets the great. Next up, Eternal Atake 2 by Lil Uzi Vert. I saw that he liked a comment saying that
he pulled the Frank Ocean.
He pulled the Frank Ocean with Endless, where he dropped this to get out of his deal.
No way.
I think that's just a bit of cope after getting the reception back from EA2. This album
was supposed to be returned to form after the Pink Tape. He can't catch a break with the reception on his albums. And you know what? Finally, I'm seeing some honest fan bases. I saw the honest side to the Kanye fan base this year. Mm-hmm. I saw the honest side to the Uzi fan base this year.
Yep.
Can't argue this. And I think that you know what's really scary about the Uzi situation right now? Okay, let's say we all believe it, right? And he goes into the bag of, I pull the Frank Ocean, I'm getting out of my deal. Bro, you got to deliver next album. Mm-hmm. Oh, you got to deliver next album, because then your fans are going to be really cheesing. It's like, well, I was led to believe that there's maybe this grander album that's being worked on that's a lot better than this. Dude, what did you get on this project that you haven't gotten from the past 3 Uzi albums?
And the worst part is that, again, it's supposed to be Eternal Atake 2. Where is that spacey, futuristic sound? I'm not saying that it was super, super present on EA, but it was part of it. Like that, there was intentionality behind like the beat selection and just the way that the album flowed. With this one, he starts. What
you know what? That album's low key aging well for me.
It is. It is.
You know, I that's kind of a sleeper for me, low key. With this though, forget about it.
No, it's horrible performances.
It does not compare to the
Uzi rapping about the nitrous. Like there's just, man, it's too much, bro. It's too much.
Maybe I'm not the target demo anymore.
No, there's no value.
Well,
it's not about target demo. This is bad music. Let's not kid ourselves.
I know, but you know what? When we were like 16 years old, coming up listening to Uzi, it was a fun time.
And the first two songs give you those 2016 Uzi vibes, and then it's downhill.
Downhill. All right.
We going down. We going downhill.
Y2K by Ice Spice.
Yeah, so we dropped a video about this being the album of the year, and I might have to stick by that. When you're looking at the influence that she took from To Pimp a Butterfly on this album, when you're looking at just the pedigree of lyricism.
I heard GNX was delayed because of this.
Yeah, and listen, bro, I think she's now put herself in the league of the Mos Defs and the Talib Kweli's of a lyricist in the hip-hop world. I think she's earned that at this point.
Okay, let's get back to the real conversation.
The album's buns.
Yeah, it's cheeks. But you know what's nuts, bro? I feel like the hype just like, it's kind of...
I called it. Give me my credit, bro. You said that she... No, you didn't call it.
I said that she'd be one of the biggest figures right now.
No, you cannot backtrack now, my friend. You said that she was going to have a long-lasting buzz in the community and that she was going to, go crazy with the career. No, bro. We saw the downhill spiral so quick, and it's to a point where... you're just getting...
How much did it sell first week? It sold like nothing.
It didn't sell much, but you're just getting repetitive Bronx drill flows from Ice Spice. You're getting lyrics about shaking ass and smoking grass. Like, it's a rinse and repeat.
Yeah, talking about fucking delis and shit. I don't know. It's like... I get it, bro. You guys have fucking corner stores in New York.
You could have made a better album, bro. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, you think
I think so.
Bad rating.
Bad rating for sure, bro. All right, next up we got Genre Sad Boy by MGK and Trippie Redd. Who would have thought that MGK and Kanye West could drop albums that are close on the same level in 2024,
I
bro?
have no idea, bro.
Who would have called it?
I don't know who thought this was going to be a good idea. Man, it's just like it's been rough for Trippie, though.
Yeah.
It's been rough for Trippie, though. Hey, listen, he's getting the bag, I guess, somewhere. He's doing well for himself business-wise. Can't argue there.
But hey, you have some heartfelt poetry on here. Like, I hate that I grew up as sad as a kid. Then I grew up and got sadder again. Or wonder what makes me happy again. What the fuck makes me happier, friend?
I'm sorry, bro. You can't buy into this.
It's just a depressing album to listen to, bro. Just because...
Yeah, but you know what? It's not even depressing, though, because it feels like disingenuine to a certain point. Like, even
it's comedy. Yeah, it's low-key comedy.
Come on. We went through that first listen. We were like, dude. Shit. You know what, man? Fuck it. Shout out to MGK.
Shout out to Jid, bro. Jid got the bag on this.
Bro, got a Jid feature.
Jid's walking away with the briefcase after this.
Oh, shit.
This is bad.
It's a bad rating.
This is so bad, bro. An emo rap pop album by MGK and Trippie Redd. Like, you knew, bro. You didn't have to listen to call this one. The indie pop instrumentals and acoustic guitar string just got old so fast. But let's move on to some brighter notes, shall we? Rich Ass Haitian by Mac Homie. Another album that's just unequivocally original, something that no one can really replicate, deeply rooted again in his Haitian heritage, and just classic boom bap beats, but with a twist, bro. The production on this album, the obscure samples blow my mind. You're getting some songs that are sampling accordions from ballads from the 1950s, Italian songs from the 1950s, pulling accordions out of that.
Shout out to the accordion players at every single Italian wedding, or even the Italian restaurant.
Everyone has one of those families.
Does your uncle ever take out like the 20, bro, and put it in his pocket?
Yep.
Yeah, you always got to tip the accordion guy. That guy probably makes a good like.
I had someone in my family that literally played the accordion.
Oh yeah, he was an accordion player. Older gentleman.
It was my great aunt's late husband. Rest his soul. Great accordion player, bro. Great accordion player. His name was Valentino. Shout out to Valentino.
Yeah,
he was a G. Yeah.
Valentino.
Anytime there was an event, bro, he would fucking rip it up.
On the mom or dad's side?
On my dad's side, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You want him to play Accordion by MF Doom? He'll fucking whip it up. No, obviously not.
All right, but let's go through some of the tracks.
But yeah,
on
no,
this.
just to add to the production, one more thing I wanted to mention. Like, you're getting him rapping over these old-ass 50s samples, and then he's rapping over a bouncy dance K-Tronada beat. Like, that shows you the range. But what did you want to get into?
Well, I really wanted to talk about some of the standouts of the year for this track list. Songs like Sanjay, songs like Pardon, songs like Sur le Pont d'Avignon. I'm really looking at this track list, and Copy Cold,
Gorgonzolan.
Rich Haitian, like you were talking about before with Keitra, and O3 Greedo. There's a lot of quality off of this project. I was really impressed with it, and I love what he brings to the table for hip hop. Amazing rating.
Oh, amazing for sure. And yeah, bro, he's just oozing with confidence and charm across the whole album, and just some of the best abstract lyricism you could find. But let's move on now to Still Praying by West Side Gun. Listen, when it comes to Still Praying, I fuck with it, but I don't fuck with it as much as I do 11. When you look at like songs like Big Dumb Ballad and Uncle Howdy, just such elegant soul sample based production. Some of the most meaningful songs of the year in terms of writing, rapping, and production on 11. But Still Praying, still a pretty solid album throughout.
Also, took a back seat with the features on this one.
He did. He kept it to like, the Griselda-based features.
But regardless, though, usually, like, let's say you go to a Hitler Wears Hermes 8, that project has so many different songs. I mean, like let's say songs that have features to songs that don't have features ratio. With this, you go through it from tracks 1 all the way into track 11, right after Bike Air Interlude. The last 3 tracks have features. You're getting Free Shots with Conway, then after that, Still Praying, obviously, with Benny, Boldy, Conway, and then Still Cooks.
Well, Dr. Britt Baker, which is I think the 5th track, has Brother Tom.
The Brother Tom SOS. And then after that, Underground King with Rome Streets and Westside Pootie. Well,
yeah.
But regardless, though, I think that it was a good approach with it, but it's not one of his best pieces of work.
No, it's not one of his strong. It's one of his more forgettable ones. I can go good or great at best with this.
I would go good with it. I think it was a good project.
All right, let's go with good. Next up, we have Everybody Can't Go by Benny the Butcher. Man, I've seen some people saying that there's some Griselda fatigue after this year. I've been seeing that come out. This album was super lackluster for me. Obviously, there's certain like standouts on the project, like TMVTL and Germany's Graduation. But it just feels like this album's missing that Griselda grit.
Do you think that that's a case? Do you think that? Well, actually, no, you can't say that for everyone, because still guys like Rome Streets, guys like Boldy James, like they're still
killing it.
They're still killing it.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I don't think. I guess maybe from the front 3, maybe from Westside Gun, Benny, and then after that Conway, you could make that argument.
You just listen to this album and you're like, Benny the Butcher's better than this, bro. Like, he was playing it so safe. He chose like bottom of the barrel Alchemist and Hit Boy beats, in my opinion. They weren't the strongest. They just felt like background noise. His performances weren't as passionate, weren't as raw. And I will say this, though, I do appreciate that even though this was like his Def Jam major label debut, he didn't try to like over commercialize this or steer away too much and make it sound poppy. But that being said, like, bro, even the songs that are supposed to be anthems, like Braun,
no,
strange delivery, too much space in between words in the flow, like.
But even going back to projects, let's say that got so much recognition from Benny, like a Tana Talk 3, right? Or like the Plugs I Met, for example. There was focus and cohesion to these albums, and there was like that feeling that was recaptured. I just think at this point in time, it's like you've delivered your burden of proof. You've ran through the Tana Talk series. It's time for something new. And it's time to get into maybe a new sound, or maybe trying to like revolutionize what you were doing before with like that old New York hip hop aesthetic, right? So that's the way that I feel about it. I gave it a good rating, though. I still think it's a pretty solid.
I think it's good at best.
Like, I think it's pretty solid, but it's, again, same level as Still Praying.
Yeah, it's like some diet, Benny the Butcher. But next up, You Only Die Once by Freddie Gibbs. This is a sequel to what we agree is Freddie's best solo album, You Only Live Twice. And I will say this, I was kind of surprised by the album that I got, in the sense of when you look at all the promotion for the album, you felt like you were getting the spooky Halloween album, and I felt like
that's what they dressed it up to be.
I assumed that the soundscape was going to be like super dark and sinister, and instead you're kind of getting like these brighter, jazzier beats for the most part, and that's fine because he rides those out pretty well regardless. You're getting monstrous flows from Freddie once again, continues to be a master of flow. You're getting low-key maybe his most vulnerable album. I want to say that. You look at songs like the introspective Origami, where he's rapping about missing his lost long friend, and how he had to keep going with the hustle, or a song like On the Set, which has a beautiful message where he reflects on his legacy. Like, you're really getting incredible song concepts and just standouts like Cosmo Freestyle
Or
and Brick Fees.
That's what I was gonna say too. I feel like something that I really enjoy from Freddie Gibbs throughout all of his projects, not only solo studio albums, but also his collaboration stuff, is his mic presence and his ability to be so lively on the mic, and that is not missing from this project whatsoever. Like you said, songs like Even Status, I really enjoy that, you know? So when I look at this project, I think it's concise as well. Only 13 tracks. Songs like On the Set, that's a huge standout for me this year in consideration for my top 10. Like you said, you were going to get introspection off of this album as well. On Origami, I really like that song too. I'm between great and amazing. I'd probably go great though.
I'd probably go great, but it's close to amazing. I just feel like some of the beats could have been a bit better, but
2093, man.
Still really solid. 2093 by Yeet. We caught a lot of slack for giving it. I think it was a bad rating. Yes, it was. It was a bad rating. I'll say this. I think he did bring his most interesting soundscape to date, going with like that sci-fi, futuristic, the dystopian sound, even though it wasn't as revolutionary as people were claiming that it was. Like, you got a lot of similar like aesthetics on something like Utopia, for instance, as a recent example. But ultimately, I just don't feel like Yeet is that interesting as a rapper, to be honest with you. I don't feel like he does enough to distinguish himself. And when he tries to distinguish himself with the vocal effects, like the chipmunk voices and the distorted voices don't add emotion. They don't really move me in any way, shape, or form. I just don't find he's entertaining as a performer on these songs and widely across his discography, to be honest.
It was a bit of a drag. Well, a bit of a drag. I should say a huge drag of an album to go through, being 22 tracks with two features. That would be Lil Wayne on Lyfestyle, and even that Stand on It by Yeet and Future.
Yeah.
But I don't know, bro. Even what's supposed to be the most interesting song on this album, which is a Breathe. That whole breathe rhythm, like the way
obnoxious hook, bro.
Like, bro, come on,
I can't.
Let's keep going. Let's really get it. Team CEO, okay. Shade, Tell Me.
Bad.
It's
bad.
It's a bad album, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's overbloated, and people might like it, but bro, there's no way I'd ever whip this.
No. Next up, let's go on to Lyfestyle by Yeet. This is even worse than 2093 because the production wasn't anything new. It was actually super poorly mixed, in my opinion. And it felt like he was regressing with this album, to be honest with you, just because you're getting these super repetitive rage beats and delivery throughout this, bro. Like 22 songs. I wouldn't recommend this to anybody, bro. Like, maybe you might have a good time moshing to this album if you're into that.
I won't say that. If you want to go listen to it. I would never tell you not to listen to an album. Actually, do so if you think you'd have a different opinion with it. But regardless, like you had said, at least 2093, something that was going for it was that it was a completely different soundscape that he's ever attacked. With this, it's like not only that, but it's again, bro. 4 features now on a 22 song album. Like the streaming play on this album is just, it's so obvious. It feels like a cash grab. It's a chore to go through. But then again, if you guys want to give it a listen, go ahead and let us know if you got it right or wrong in the comment section. Again, though, I'd give it a bad rating.
Yep. Next up, Better Me Than You by Big Sean. I actually had really high hopes for this album, especially after hearing the amazing collab he had with The Alchemist on Together Forever. I'm like, fuck, bro, we might be finally getting that mature, conscious Big Sean rap album. And then you go into The Experience, and sadly, it falls short the way that a lot of Big Sean albums fall short in terms of the curation and the inconsistency of the track list.
Like, a lot of inconsistencies here.
We didn't need Big Sean rapping over a Cash Cobain beat. We didn't need a Big Sean and Kodak Black song. we didn't need these things.
What's with the Kodak features nowadays?
Oh man,
And
yeah.
it's like everyone wants the Kodak feature.
There's just too many. Yeah.
Shout out to Kodak, bro. He's getting his money.
Too many weak attempts at trying to make hit songs as well.
Well, not only that, but you, bro, how does Gunna steal your own song on it? Is what it is.
Because that was a Gunna song that he added his vocals to. That's what it is.
This and that with Bryson Tiller. Nah, bro. I'm sorry.
Break the Cycle was amazing. I love Typecast. Boundaries was so good. Like, there's
Pieces.
highs.
Yeah, A Million Pieces as well. There was definitely Together Forever that made the end of the track list.
Of course.
There was huge highlights on this. But again,
It's a mixed bag.
yeah, this could have been so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Even, come on, bro. This song is like an opportunity. It's a missed opportunity. Could have arguably been one of his best albums up to this date.
I know. Mid or good?
Good. I give it a good rating.
Yeah,
Stays
okay.
at good.
We can stay at good. Next up, Hood Poet by Polo G. So Polo G took 3 years to come out with Hood Poet. And with this album, it just felt like he showed no growth whatsoever. He
There's
just
a lot of
decided to be complacent.
There's a lot of young rappers that are making like these disappointing entries, and the music just isn't landing, bro. Like with Hood Poet, that's an album that just came and went.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Even compare, okay, when we first started in hip-hop Twitter, let's say with the NFR account, the conversation on Polo G was at an all-time high. One of the most spoken about rappers within our entire, like, let's say, community.
He lost all his steam.
Now, forget about it.
He lost it.
It's
Sad.
it's no longer there. And it's sad to see because it could have been completely different.
What's crazy is that, like, you managed to get incredible producers like Alan Ritter and Southside on this thing, yet you're still getting these generic, moody trap beats that are driven by these pianos or these cheap guitar strings. And you're like, come on, bro. Like,
You could do better.
You have the access to these talented producers.
But he even
choose
said,
wisely.
But he said it. I think
Choose
I think
wisely.
it's a career choice for him because even at a point he said that like, I low-key wasn't down to create. And if that's the case, that's fine, you know. And like you could release this maybe for the fans, but as an honest rating, I think this was really disappointing.
It was
from
mid.
A performance.
It was mid at best.
Mid at
Super
best.
boring.
Absolutely.
Mid album. There you go. Last album for today's tier list. We made it. The Crossroads by Corday. We had the pleasure, obviously, of sitting down with Corday. If you guys haven't seen that conversation, the episode is up on the channel. But that being said, we did speak about our thoughts on the album within that episode, but we didn't give it an official score.
We didn't.
And I do want to talk about this album just because I think that it deserves more love and attention. You know, like this felt like a modern spin on a Chipmunk Soul album. And Corday, much like a Kendrick Lamar, for example, is someone that like wears his influences on his sleeve and likes to show you, you know, where he came from in terms of how he developed his sound. And there's so many great tributes like Nothing's Promised where you're getting the Heard Him Say flip from him. And to me, this is up there with The Lost Boy. Shows his knack for storytelling. You're getting emotionally moving songwriting on songs like Shy of Fenny, and kept it, you know, real about his current struggles. I will say there's songs like Mad as Fuck that don't do it for me. There are a couple tracks that maybe bog it down a little bit, but the more time I've had to sit with it, I really enjoy it. I'd give it a great rating.
I would give it a great rating. Even songs like Saturday Mornings and Summer Drop were great collaborations with Wayne and Anderson. Those were great entrances into this album. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Did they include 210s on this, actually?
Yeah, it's the bonus song, yeah.
They included it as a bonus song.
Yeah.
Syrup Sandwiches with Joey. Like you said, great rating. But, guys, that is going to conclude today's tier list. We do this every single year. I want to see what maybe we did in past years for these tier lists and how they stack up maybe against this one. But it was a stacked year for commercial releases. If you guys want to watch more episodes just like this, you guys can hit the subscribe button. Guys, thank you for another wonderful year, and we're going to update you guys with something massive. I think you guys know what it is. It's getting towards the end of the year and the next episodes that are coming up. So, guys, thank you once again for watching this, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.